How y'all feeling? Listen, I had to go live on today just to kind of share what recently just occurred. And I pray that it's going to bless you because it really blessed me. And so I have been like really struggling, y'all, with sharing my story. And part of the reason is because, I was asking God, like, how much should I share? Is it the right timing? When do I share? And that's something that I've been thinking about a whole lot lately. Just God, give me opportunities to share, to inspire people, to encourage people, with the things that I've gone through. Let my testimony, right, glorify your name. And so that has been my greatest prayer, y'all. And I've really been battling with it. And so I've just been dropping little nuggets and sharing things here and there concerning like my past and things that I've overcome. And it's been really encouraging to see so many people excited about what God is doing in my life. And, it's just such a blessing to know that the things that I've gone through won't go to waste. Like that God is going to use every single part of it, right, to get the glory. And so anyway, this morning I decided, I'm like, let me get up, let me go make a run really quickly, go to the grocery store, grab a few items. And I, get in the grocery store. My goal was to just go in and out. Like I knew exactly what I was going in for. I was returning something and I'm like, I'm going to return this item, get the exchange, and head right back out the door because I had other things that I needed to do today, right? And so this is why it's so important to listen to the voice of God. And so in that moment of me grabbing, the exchange item, I heard Holy Spirit say, take your time, take your time, like just stop rushing, take your time, right? And so I got my little baby with me and I'm like, let him get some fresh air. And so instead of going to the checkout line, I go to, just walk around the store a little bit. I'm not going to necessarily buy anything. I don't need anything, but I'm like, let me just take my time, like the Lord said. And so I go to the back of the store. And as I'm walking, I see this young lady to the left of me. And I keep walking because when I'm in the store, I usually don't really make eye contact or anything like that. I'm just minding my business. But as I walked past her, Holy Spirit said, no, look again. And so I turned over and I looked and I realized that I recognized her. And I screamed out her name. I said it kind of gently or whatever. And she looked up at me, y'all, and she screamed my name to the top of her lungs and gave me the biggest hug ever. And this is somebody that I met when I first got into social services. I think I was 21 years old. And so for the people that don't know me, because I do have new followers, new people who are tuning in, I was in foster care, grew up in foster care. I was a teen mom. And after I aged out of foster care, I then began working in social services. And then, during and after social services, then I found myself as the mom in the hot seat, right? Just being completely transparent. And so I have a 360 view of the system, right? Of social services, all of that, right? The courts and things like that. And so, anyway, she screams to the top of her lungs my name. She gives me the biggest hug ever. And she just starts bawling, like crying. And I'm like, wow, I'm like, wow, God, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, I must have really made an impact on her life. And I met her, I think I was like 22 or something like that. She's not much younger than me, but she's younger. And so she was about 17 years old when she came into the program. I used to go out as a street outreach worker and I would go out to different places and I would share the resources, like what we had available, right? And I would tell people how to get in touch with us, what services we could provide and how we can help them to navigate community resources so that they can get on their feet, right? And so I, went to a school, I presented, and she ended up calling the number. And and she became like one of my favorite clients. I know we shouldn't have favorites, but she was always on her game. She was always a go-getter. And I remember just, showing her so much favor because I just believed in her so much, right? And I would see her throughout the years. She's my Facebook friend, so I see her doing amazing things. And I'm always thinking to myself, like, wow, I'm so proud of her. Like, I'm so proud of her. She has a drive. She is just very optimistic. She takes care of her son. She takes care of her family. She's extremely focused. And so I always say, like, man, I'm so proud of her. And so today, she was sharing, she said, she was telling me about things that, she's dealing with now, concerning her family and everything. And she said, she looked at me and she said, you know what, Taylor J, she said, you were the very first person that told me that I could do it. She said, I'll never forget when you came to present at the school, you share resources. She said, and I called you. I called that number. She said, and you came and picked me up in that van. And she said, you gave me your story. She told me, she said, you shared your story with me. She said, and it was so similar. And you told me that I could do it. And you gave me, she said that I gave her tips and strategy on how to navigate, how to overcome. And she applied those things. She said, I'll never forget how you would show me favor. I mean, y'all, like being transparent, I don't work there anymore. So I'm like not afraid to get in trouble or anything. And it's not unethical. But when she would call me, y'all, I would go like, I'm like, and I had a few clients like that, because when you see a youth really trying and you see them in this state of just brokenness and they feel like, they feel hopeless and helpless, like they don't have anybody, they don't have anything, and they're really trying, right? There's something on the inside of you that's like, man, let me help. Let me do what I can to make sure they good. And so she would call me, y'all, and I would go pick her up. I would even call her like, you need a ride from school today, right? Like it wasn't necessarily my job description to go pick her up from school. I'm like, I just want to give her a ride. Like, I don't want her to catch the bus today. Like different things like that. And so she was just sharing with me. She said, you know what? She said, Taylor J, you shared your story with me. You told me I could do it. You told me I could make it. You told me, strategies and things that I could do, right, to overcome. She said that was a season in her life where she was broken. She said she was lost. She said she felt like she had nobody. She didn't know what to do. She was only 17 years old. I remember she was pregnant. I would take her to her doctor's appointments, y'all, because I remember when I was 14 years old, y'all, and I would walk to the doctor, right, to go do my prenatal. And not that I didn't, like, I don't want to get into that right now, but I just remember those days being a young teen mom, carrying a baby, feeling like, man, like, what am I going to do with my life next? Like, who's looking out for me? Who's covering me, right? And so I would do things like that for her. And I remember when she had the baby, it was just absolutely amazing. She was one of those clients, that really made an impact on me, right? Like, and so she was just sharing. She said, you know what? She said, you shared some things with me. She said, Taylor J, I remember I would be at home. She said, and she would wake up in the middle of the night and she would hear my voice like, you could do it, you could do it, you could do it. And that was so encouraging for me, y'all, because like I said in the beginning of this video, I had been struggling and battling a little bit with sharing my story. I'm like, God, I have this amazing story, this powerful story. I've overcome so many different things. I know that you've called me to share my story, to change lives, right? To give people hope, to give people strategy, to be the blueprint. But I'm not going to lie. Like I said, y'all, I have been struggling with, how to share, how much to share, right? And so that just really blessed me today, y'all, just to hear that. She had like tears in her eyes, and I'm so proud of her. And so I just wanted to get on here just to encourage y'all, like, each and every one of us, we have a story, and there are people, right, who are waiting on you to share, right, to give them the blueprint, to encourage them, right, to let them know what you've gone through. There's a thing, that some things that I've overcome in my life, and I remember being in Chicago, with my coach, and the Holy Spirit led me and said, share your story amongst a group of young ladies. And I had never shared this story publicly. I had never been transparent in this, oh, Camille, she on here, my friend. I'm talking about you, friend. I had never been transparent. I had never shared that. I'm like, this is a new environment. These are new people. God, I don't want people to judge me. But Holy Spirit said, no, open up your mouth and you share what you've gone through. And when I opened up my mouth, Camille looked at me and said, me too. And I'm like, wow, I had never met anybody that had gone through what I had gone through concerning like the system and our children and motherhood. Like I had never met anybody that had to, fight this fight other than my mother. Right. And so it was so encouraging to, hear her say like me too. And what was so significant even about that was I shared my story. There was a connection being made, and then she shared her story with me, and I realized like it gave me hope because she like a few steps ahead of me in that area, right? She's already seeing prayers being answered, and I'm like, wow, God, if you can do it for her, I know you can do it for me. And I'm already seeing the manifestation of, my prayers, right, come to pass concerning my family. And so y'all, you have to share your story. You got to start opening up your mouth and letting people know, like, listen, we serve a great God. God will, hey bro, my brothers on here, we are overcomers, right? Like a lot of you all have answers in your belly, and it's for the people, and so I just been so encouraged today. I have completed my book, y'all, 2 years ago. And like I said, it's just been this battle of, how much do I put in the book? How transparent should I be? I don't want to, and there are people in my life that I really care about. And, like even my mother, I was in foster care. I honor my mother. I absolutely love and adore my mother, right? And I understand, I get it. And I recognize that this is a generational curse that I'm breaking. And so I'm like, God, you got to help me to make sure I'm showing honor concerning my mother. Like that, I want God to get the glory out of my story, y'all, for real. And so, there are some things that I didn't want to share. And there are some things that, I've even gone through that I was like embarrassed about, just to be honest. Things that I felt like, man, people are really going to judge me. But Holy Spirit, got me together. He's been strengthening me in this time. And so I've just been writing. I've been extremely transparent. And I'm like, some parts may not go in the book. It may go in another book, or it may be for another time. I don't know, but it just feels really good to just get it all out right on paper. And to see my story like written, it's giving me so much confidence and courage, right, concerning it. The more I share, the more I realize and recognize, like, hey, Taylor J, you ain't the only person that had to deal with that, right? And you're not the first, and you're not the last. And so, y'all, like, today I was just so encouraged. Even a post that I posted the other day concerning my daughter, I have not shared that publicly, right? Like, that is a time in my life. It was a very low season, and it broke my heart when I didn't talk to my daughter for an entire year, right? And I'm like, God, I know you got to do something with this, right? I was praying, and it wasn't until I began fasting and really learned how to fight in the spirit concerning my children that I saw a breakthrough. And so when I made that post, y'all, I like drafted it, I copied it, I pasted it, I put it in my notes a few times, I went back to it, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna post it because I overcame this thing, and I'm sure this is gonna help somebody. And the amount of inboxes that I received was absolutely amazing. People commented on the status and said, man, I'm going through this now, or man, I'm encouraged, or yes, I went through this before. And it was just encouraging, right? It was just so encouraging, right, to know like I'm not the only person that dealt with this, and that there are other people who are waiting and looking for answers, right? Like, I remember when I was going through, right, that really dark season of my life, and I was like Googling stuff. I didn't really want to like open up my mouth and share too much because I was still in it. I didn't trust anybody during that time, y'all. So I didn't open up my mouth. I really, y'all, felt like I was alone. I felt like I had to like, guard it. Like I shouldn't talk about it too much, right? I mean, like it was so bad, y'all. I was like, it was bad. I mean, it was horrible. And I'm so glad God brought me through that thing and he turned it around. And now now I have this major desire on the inside of me. I'm like, yo, nobody should have to go through a season like that alone, right? Like you shouldn't have to. We should be able to go online or reach out to people in our churches and know that somebody around us, right? Somebody somewhere has the answers. I was Googling the other day, and, I'm a mom, right? I'm a single mother, so I got this little baby and things like that. And I was even sharing with Camille, like, man, it was discouraging. And I'm like, that's not something that I want to like label myself as, right? But I'm like, there are other women out here who are bosses, who are, in ministry, in marketplace, who have young children, and they don't want to talk about, the struggles that you may go through as a single mom, how you have to stay up late, to get things done because, your baby's running around and you got to tend to them, and how you have to navigate and set up your calendar the right way, how sometimes it can be extremely frustrating because maybe you can't find a babysitter or, whatever it is. Like there are women out here who need that. And so, y'all, I went to YouTube and I typed in, single mothers. And I was just curious because God was saying, like, you know, start speaking on this. You're not the only woman out here who's like, you know, a boss and like, you know, just trying to make it happen with a baby. You're not, you know, you're not. And so I get on YouTube, y'all, being transparent. I'm like, let me hear other stories, right? To just be encouraged. Let me hear other stories. Let me find out what other women are out here dealing with this thing. And when I typed it in YouTube, y'all, literally, it was nothing but like negativity. I didn't see very many. Hey, Darnicia. I didn't see very many stories, like positive, like stories of triumph with just single mothers. And I know single mothers, like, who did I just see type that they were a single mother for 13 years? I think that was somebody just posted that. But I'm like, I know single mothers. I know, Stacy. She said she was a single mother for 13 years and her son is now graduating from NCAT. But there were many years of tears, but God is faithful. Yes. That's what I was looking for, y'all. That's what I was looking for on YouTube. I said, now I know I'm not the only one that's like struggling like this. I'm like, I know there are women on YouTube talking about this. No, there were a lot of men bashing single mothers. And so I watched a few of the videos because I'm curious. I'm clicking on the link. You know, it was almost like clickbait. And I'm like, okay, well, what do they have to say? You know, like I came out here looking for women who are dealing with this, you know, sharing their stories, but I saw men posting and everything wasn't, you know, really good. It was, you know, a negative viewpoint of it. And I was like, in that moment, I'm like, that's the problem. Like, we aren't telling our stories. There are women who may be at home right now, like Googling this, like looking for encouragement, looking for a story, looking for a testimony, looking for strategies, like, you know, and these are things that they're not willing to like open up to people around them about. So they go to the internet. That's why social media and the media and the internet is so powerful, y'all. Like, don't ever discount it. Like, there are real people behind these profiles. You know, people may get on social media and they may say, well, I love you too, Lydia. They may say, you know, people is just on here and they must not have anything else to do, or, you know, they just, social media or media, the internet is a waste of time. But I disagree. If people are going to be on this internet searching for things, they're looking for answers, God has given us this thing as a tool, right, to reach people literally all over the world. You're not traveling to Africa every day. You're not doing that. Who got money like that, first of all? Like, who got that bread? Who got it? Not me, you know, but you have an opportunity every single day to reach people over in Africa and Argentina, Canada, you know, Jamaica, all these different places all over the globe, and find people that are dealing with the same thing that you're dealing with, or, you know, that need to hear your story. Hey, Miss Craig, you know, and so like, I think that it's an amazing tool. I think that it's powerful. I think that, you know, it's not a mistake, right? And I feel like, you know, if people are going to be out here looking for answers, let me make sure I'm putting out answers, right? Like, so everybody out here like has an answer. You know, we are called to solve problems in the kingdom. And so, y'all, I just wanted to encourage you all. Share your story. Look at Darnicia. I was a single mom for 11 years before I meeting my husband. See, look, listen. You know, and people try to make it like, and this is not even like about single motherhood necessarily, but I'm going to talk about it because it's a part of me. It's a part of who I am. But people, you know, kind of look at it like a plague. And so I thank God for the people that I have that have surrounded me, right? Who are encouraging to me, who got Taylor J's back. You know, there are people like my clients. They know I have a baby. They all know his name. They all speak. He on the thing, hi. They all speak back. You know what I'm saying? And I just thank God that I can even be transparent with, you know, my clients, majority of them anyway, and say like, you know, I can't get to it today, you know, in the morning, I got you. And it's just such a blessing. It's so encouraging to know, like, you know, that not only do I have a community of people that surrounded me and supporting me in this time, but like I can share, I could be transparent, I could be open and honest about, you know, what I'm going through, and know like, you know, we trying to get it, you know, like, we all trying to get it. We all want to make sure that God gets the glory out of our lives. We all want to see next level, right? Like, I don't think I know one person that just want to stay the same. I don't know people like that. Even people that are really struggling with depression and, you know, all of that, like, they don't want to be in that place. They don't, you know, like, they don't want to be there. Jessica, my daughter was a newborn and I was doing ministry. It wasn't easy, but I had to focus on purpose. She just made 13 now. She helps me with my social media platform. It's hard, but God will help us. Yes, see? Listen, Jay, my husband passed in 2008 and my support circle has helped me throughout the years. See what I'm saying, y'all? Like, that's absolutely amazing. But if I didn't open up my mouth and say that, you know, I wouldn't have known that I was connected to so many amazing women who have overcome. You know what I'm saying? It grew me up for real and has a lot to do with who I am today. I wouldn't change a thing. It was worth it. No regrets. Yes. Yes, that's absolutely amazing. Y'all, and so like this young lady, as I was speaking to her earlier, she was just sharing, you know, that my story blessed her because I was a teen mom like her. Like, I went into foster care like her. Like, so many of the things that she was dealing with, I had overcome. And yet I was like, I think I was like 21 or 22 when I met her, and I aged out of foster care at 21. So I was, still fresh out of it. But y'all, like, I was helping her. I was a few steps ahead of her. Like, I was a steps ahead of her, far enough to where, like, I had the answers for something. And so don't feel like, I'm just getting out of it. Like, I can't help anybody. Yes, you can. I remember even going through things and still being of help, right? Still having answers. And even in that, like, with me just thinking about, like, okay, God, I'm struggling with sharing my story. I'm struggling with, how to present it, or when do I share, or how do I share? God, like, sends people back, to remind you, like, you're a blessing. Like, I've created you. I've given you that story to be a blessing unto other people, right? And so I'm excited about what God is doing. When is the book coming out? It's just about finished, because I was going in and I'm like, okay, let me start adding other pieces. I started to, like, just really thinking, as I was going through old pictures, memories were coming up. I was going through old journals, and remembering, some of the things that God has totally brought me through. And I'm like, oh, I got to add this into the book. And so, I got to reach out to my person and, get it going. But definitely this year, it's about finished. I think I want to add a few more things and go over some stuff. So, really soon, definitely before probably first or second quarter, just depending on, publishing and everything like that. But I'm really excited. And I remember I would beat myself up like, girl, this book was supposed to have been done. This book should have been out there. But I'm so glad, because just where I am today, like, if I would have released this book 2 years ago, it wouldn't have hit like it's about to hit, because I was afraid to really, let the oil flow. Being honest, like, I was afraid of, putting certain things out there. I was afraid. I wasn't as confident as I am now. Right. And some of the things, like, y'all probably would have been reading, like, it's something else, Taylor J. I know you got a little bit more than that. It's powerful. It was powerful how it was. I believe that I'm a good storyteller. I was able to pull the lesson out of the things that I've gone through, but it was still, I held back a whole lot, y'all. Like, y'all probably would have read that manuscript like, Taylor J, you got some more in you. Like, like, I know you do. And so that was my issue, like, that was my thing. So, and part of it was procrastination, procrastinating, running, from my calling, from my purpose. Like, it's been a straight fight. And another thing, this gonna bless y'all for real. Let me tell you how God has truly blessed me as well. Because, I stopped working in social services. Like, I gave up on it. I'm like, I don't think I want to go back. It was like traumatizing, like, just revisiting trauma all day. It just felt like trauma. It was so heavy. And so I just stopped doing social services. I was done with it. Never thought about going back in that way. I'm like, while I finish my book and I'll go back on my terms, like, I'll go back on my terms, how I want to go back. But recently I had been looking for, like, contracts. Like, God spoke a word, like Gigi, she prophesied. She was like, I see major contracts, and I heard that word, and I'm like, okay, let me get online. Let me see how this even works, because, at this point I was in social services, but now I'm in, this little filter got, freckles. Okay, period. I, been doing graphic design and everything like that. And so I'm like, well, I don't really know how that's going to tie into, because I know I'm called to families. I know that I'm called, to the system. I know that I'm called to mothers, young mothers. I know who I'm called to. So I'm like, God, how is graphic design and all of that? How is that even going to tie into this? So I'm like, well, I'll go back on my terms with my book, and that's how that's going to tie in. And God, like, no, I have other plans for you. And so I began going online, just looking at different corporations, seeing, what they had available. And I landed quite a few interviews with people who wanted to employ me and contract me in. And I just went into each one, with an open mind, like, God, whatever you want to do with my life and the gifting on my life, like, do it. But I want you to lead me, lead me. And so finally, I ended up applying for a group home, an agency, because they needed a media and marketing person. So I'm like, okay, here we go again. And so I'm like, well, I'll go back and do that, especially if they contract me in. And so I go into the building, Familiar Place. I, used to collaborate with them in the past when I worked for other agencies. And so I'm very familiar with the organization. My brothers stayed there, so I'm double, familiar with it. I knew employees that worked there. I knew a lot of youth. I would place youth there. And so I go in, I do the interview, and I'm just myself, y'all. I'm like, I'm not going to be scripted. I didn't go in faking it. I legit walked in authentically Taylor J, like who you see today. And, they were asking me questions, and I was just telling them, what was coming off my mind. I really didn't script. I didn't really prepare. I just went in and I said, you know what, God, like, I don't ever want to go back into another place again where I feel like I gotta, code switch and shift it up, right? To like, I don't want to go in feeling like, oh, I gotta change because I need this job, because I didn't need it, right? Like, I'm, working my business and everything like that. But I'm like, I want to be placed somewhere strategically, God, where you can use me and my gifts and my talents, everything is maximized. And so as I go in, I'm talking to them and I'm sharing my story. I'm like, I don't even know if we're supposed to share stories on job interviews like that. And I'm like, how much do I share? What do I not share? And I'm just sharing with them what I do, how I got into graphic design, how I'm familiar with social services, things that I did in the field in the past with clients, what my perspective is concerning them. I share with them how I used to tell my story when I was in social services. Like, I was in newspapers, y'all, like the news, like news interviews, newspapers. I would go to these big events and they will allow me to speak and share my story and tell them things that I've overcome, or how, social services has really, how I've benefited from the organization and, all of that. Like, I was able to share it. I was also able to share, people that impacted my life, like caseworkers, case managers, people that I was associated with, even one woman, Julie Reed, absolutely love her. She took me to lunch one time so I could share my vision with her. So it's like I was connected to so many amazing people that believed in me, and I was sharing my story. And so I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to share all of that, but I did. And they were so grateful. And one of the things that they said, I love how, this is like coming back full circle for you. They were talking about how, it's really good that I have this background and that I have the heart for it, and that I understand how important storytelling is. And so I'm like, wow. And so anyway, long story short, I get to work there. I'm really excited about it. Just doing the marketing and media for it, just to take it up to the next level. And I walked out and everything just started happening so fast. Like, it was almost so much urgency on it, y'all. Like, I couldn't even get out the door good, because they were like calling me back, like, well, do this. We sending you paperwork. Before you know it, I had offer letters, and I get to decide, make decisions on, different things. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's just exciting how God, I've been asking, like, God, how is all of this going to tie together? How is all of this going to work together for my good? Like, how, like, I'm doing graphic design, I'm doing media and marketing and everything on this end, but I know where you've called me to be. I know that you've called me to, families and things like that. And so, I get to do both at the same time. So I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I think that's amazing. And then even other opportunities are, presenting themselves. I'm hearing about it and I'm like, wow, God, like you are really showing yourself to be strong in my life in this season. And so nothing will go to waste, right? Nothing will go to waste, right? Amos 9, so fast. Head was swimming. Nothing will go to waste, y'all. Like everything that you've gone through, every experience, like God is truly going to use it for your good. And so I'm just so excited. I know you spoke at a training staff for a group I'm the co-chair for. I'm so proud of you. We should talk. I currently work for a vision for children at risk. Check out the website. Right. See, look at that, y'all. Because I was obedient, because I got on live and I shared my story. Now, look, other people are reaching out. I think that's absolutely amazing. I really have a heart for this. It feels really good. I'm starting to feel more confident in my walk with God and in my confidence as it pertains to what I'm called to do. And so like, it's just becoming so clear. Like, there are some things that I know I have to say no to because I know where God is now, calling me to. Like, I'm really niching down. Marketplace term, niching down. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited about, just all of the wonders and things that's going to take place in 2023. Like, last year was absolutely amazing. Like, I saw God move his hand strong in my life. He really matured me and I've gained more confidence in who I am, more confidence in what I offer and services and things that I provide. And so like, I pray that same like favor on you all, that as you all begin to step out and make connections, that you aren't afraid to share your story, and that, you'll yield to the voice of God and that you'll hear him clearly concerning on what to share and how to share and like when's the right time. And I pray that, you all receive, massive opportunities to like just share, right? Your perspective of things. Some of us are sitting on gold. Right? Like I think about that and I'm like, man, I know that my story like is going to pay for all the pain and all the hell that I've been through. Right. And oftentimes when the enemy knows that, he like, well, let me attack her mind. Let me attack her confidence. Let me attack, her delivery. And he can't have our story. Like he will literally try to shut you down. But it is dangerous when, you are a woman who have overcome like criticism, when you've overcome death, when you're not afraid of, poverty. Like I've lived in poverty, like, just living in shelters and group homes and things like what else you got, enemy, right? And so he'll try to like, muzzle you, but we come against that, We telling our stories in 2023. We writing every book. We're sharing when we out, networking out. I was in a grocery store today, y'all. Like, I wasn't at a conference. I wasn't in I was in the grocery store. Me and my baby was just in the grocery store and I yielded to the voice of God. I'm going in to rush. Didn't have anywhere to go, but I'm like, let me get in and get out. And I heard the Holy Spirit clearly say, no, like, take your time, like slow down. And I'm like, okay. And I just began to breathe and I felt my shoulders relax. I was just like, okay, let me take my time. Let me slow down. Why am I rushing? And as I walked past that young lady and God said, look again. I don't do that, y'all. Like I just be minding my business in the grocery store. I walked clean past her and I double looked and I was like, called her name out and she just screamed my name. But that was so encouraging for me on today. Like I told her, I'm like, just seeing you like, my story was a blessing to her, but even having that encounter today with her was a blessing to me. And it was so encouraging, so much so I'm like, I got to go live and just tell people about it, just to encourage you all. So I'm excited about our futures. I'm excited about every book that's going to be produced, every live video, every YouTube video, every TikTok, every event or opportunity that you may have in a grocery store or at the gas station, and I just pray that, God sends listeners around you because a lot of the times, you're around so many people that you feel like you being shut down. Like you feel like maybe people don't give you an opportunity to speak, or maybe you feel like you're not heard, or, that makes you feel like I'm not valued or I'm not valid, or what I've gone through isn't significant because people just keep shutting you down. But it's not that, right? It's just that some people don't really like to listen. So I just pray that God sends listening ears your way, to people that he's called for you to speak life into, and that you get every opportunity available to you to just share what God has done and is doing in your life. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. I do have a community, and I was up praying about Fresh Digital today because I'm now moving into this season of storytelling, and that's my job now, like to tell stories, to like help people, these youth, to share their stories effectively, and to help them to share their stories all over the world. So that's the season that I'm in, y'all. And so I'm really excited about just walking out that journey with even my Fresh Digital crew, just us telling stories, sharing, that is the sauce. That's how you build your know, like, and trust factor as it pertains to marketing, right? Like, social media is so powerful. I've been following that guy Keith Lee on TikTok for quite some time now. He's a food critic, right? And so I go on there because I just like his humor. I like his personality and everything. And so I have been following him, and I've seen different videos that he's done because people have shared their stories online and it just captured their attention. And so he'll go to these restaurants and he'll, tell stories about his experience and how the food is. And people absolutely love him. So if he ever posts a restaurant or a food or whatever, people like, they trust him so much so that they'll just like go bombard that business, and their business is just really like skyrocketing. And so he just went to this, he did a food review on a pizza place. He spent his own money. He did his own traveling to get there. The place was very new. They didn't really have many customers. Someone reached out to him and said, I don't know if it's the marketing or if it's the food, but we don't got customers. And he said, well, I'm gonna come and see. So he bought all this food, y'all, came back, got on TikTok, did the review. He said the food was absolutely amazing, and people legit like bombarded this man's business. Like, he just did a TikTok, and I'm following his story. I'm following the story, y'all. So he like did an update, and I'm like, oh, let me go see what's going on with Frank. I know the owner's name. His name Frank. And so storytelling. And so he pulls up to the place, and the line is wrapped around the building. And he was like, this is why Frank not answering the phone. So he goes in, he greets Frank, and Frank like, yeah, like, I got to take care of all these people. I can't answer. And this the man that, really, he used his platform to draw all of this attention to this restaurant. And so that's how powerful social media is. When you begin showing up and people begin to know you, and they begin to like you and love you, and they begin to trust you, right? Your words now hold weight. Your opinion now holds weight. And so now you have an opportunity, right, to lead people to godly things, or things that they could benefit from, right? And so that's why it's so important for you to get your voice out there, right? Begin being heard. You might have 2 people on your live today. You just never know. Somebody, you might say something that spark the interest of somebody or really bless somebody, and they will literally, your name will just blow in the wind, like, rapidly, and you'll just never know. You'll begin receiving phone calls or emails or whatever, or you may have a restaurant, you have a line wrapped around the building, all because someone said your name on their platform. So, and this is just social media. Social media is just one small fraction of, all the things that you can tap into as it pertains to marketing. But social media is like the biggest one, honestly. And so if you're a person that's saying, man, I don't know, like, what I'm supposed to do on social media, I don't know how much I should talk or when I should go live, like, join Fresh Digital. Like, let's talk about that. And also too, when there are new features coming out and new systems and new things that you can subscribe to, don't demonize what you don't understand, because you do have to understand and recognize that the people that are behind a lot of these systems are, they're trying to make the internet more user friendly. That they want it to benefit us. Something so powerful that I heard, I was on this training for Meta, Facebook and stuff. They do trainings and things like that. So I'm on this training, and the guy was just talking about how they were just trying to level up and upgrade the system, like, and just make it more user friendly. And it really shifted my thought process because sometimes we feel like the algorithm, we fighting against the algorithm. Hey, Taisha, or, Facebook don't care about us. But these platforms are set up for you to win because if you win, they win, right? Let's just be honest. So if you go on here on Facebook and say you got, an event coming up and you spend all this money on ads and you get no results, you're never coming back to spend money on ads again. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going to keep spending money in places and I'm not getting any results, right? So they look at that. They're like, listen, if these people are going to be spending their money and they're spending a nice amount of money or whatever, they're putting all their energy into this thing, I'm going to make sure that they get results because I don't want to lose this person. Because if they lose you, they lose content, they lose money, they lose revenue, they lose attention, right? These social media platforms are nothing without us. They're nothing without us telling stories. They're nothing without us creating content. So you have to understand and know that, hey, you're valuable. You're valuable. And yes, you're one out of billions of people, but so what? You bring fire content. You got something dope on the inside of you, right? So you add value. That's why it's important. And then I know that it's a lot of different social media sites out here. I know it's a lot of different avenues that you can take as it pertains to just get down into the internet. Like, don't allow that to confuse you and cause you to become stagnant. Decide, say, yo, if I'm going to go hard on TikTok, that's where I'm finna be. Don't worry about all the other platforms. Don't stress yourself out about it. Because when you stress yourself out and now you stuck in analysis paralysis and trying to figure stuff out, now you find yourself in this place of stagnation. And before you know it, you'll look up and it'll be 2024, 2026, and you still got the same goals. You still talking about doing this YouTube channel. You still talking about doing your live show. You still talking about doing your podcast, right? And a lot of the times we spend time trying to make sure that we're absolutely perfect. I love you too. Absolutely perfect. A lot of the people that blew up, they're not perfect. I'm on this live. I don't have I'm not using StreamYard or OBS or anything like that. I literally picked up this $1,000 phone because all of us got these $1,000 phones. And I did put a filter on it because I've been traveling. I'm a little sleepy. My baby's sick. Put a filter on and I'm like, what's good? You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we too hard on ourselves, as it pertains to showing up. Just start showing up, right? And as you go, you're going to begin to get better. The first time you go live, you might mess up, you might stumble over your words, but whatever. But the more you go and the just on this journey, you'll begin to just get better and better and better and better. Better at telling your story, better at knowing what to share, better at engaging your audience. It's a journey and it's fun, y'all. It's fun. I get on TikTok sometime at night, all the time at night, because it be popping. And all these people just be going live. They be on there doing makeup, listening to music, talking to they be talking to other people and we just be in a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, just find out what platform you want to get on and just begin to tell your story. Every company, every brand has a story, right? You don't have to get deep with everything, but say you got a hair care line, tell stories about how you grow your hair, how you take care of your hair. It's storytelling, right? Every day we're encountering, people that made an impact on us or we're making an impact on other people. Share those stories, right? Those things matter. That really helps people to understand and know who you are, what value you bring to the table. If they don't know what you provide and what you can do, they're not going to reach out. They're not mind readers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have businesses and things that we have something to offer, but we don't tell stories. We don't tell people what we got. We're not a product of the product. We're not showing it. And then we wonder why our sales aren't up, right? You gotta put yourself out there. There are people who are selling stuff all day long and they're showing you what they have. They're in their rooms packaging items. They're in their, the storage rooms just going live. They don't even be talking about the products all the time. Sometimes they just showing you, I'm working. And that'll make you want to be let me go to their website and see what they have available. I really like her personality or her sense of humor. Let me go support sis. You just never know. But they wouldn't have made those sales if they didn't show up. And so that's the same for you, right? Some of you all have books that are already written, already published, just sitting on a bookshelf waiting to be purchased. There are so many people that I work with. I'm you got a book? They don't even talk about that. They're well, I don't know, and I don't want to give too much of the book. Give them people something so that they know what they're about to get. I think sometimes we struggle with, giving too much as well because we've been taken advantage of. So we're like, I'm not giving away my value for free. I'm not giving them what I worked hard to get because we've been taken advantage of so much that we feel like I'm not putting nothing out unless I'm being compensated for it, right? Everything doesn't necessarily have to be not monetized, right? Of course, there's some things that you must gatekeep. You must gatekeep. But other things like, it's okay to share, kind of loosen up a little bit. If not, become a part of a community of people where you can be open and honest with and share things with, where you feel comfortable, but you got to have that release, right? And when you begin to talk about it, you begin to find your tribe, people that are like-minded, people that are running just like you, and it just gets real encouraging. Like, I'm around so many runners. Like, we don't all offer the same thing, but like, we're all running. We all got a goal. We all pressing toward the mark. We all know that we got a promise on our life. We all know what God said about us, right? And we are relentless. Like, we finna go get whatever it is that God got for us, right? Like, we had visions, dreams, prophesied to each other, received prophecy, read it in the Bible, had dreams. Like, we know that God got something special for us. And so, like, we finna go get it. Like, we're gonna make sure we're positioned to go and get it. And so, y'all, like, your story matters. It matters. It matters. And so I just had to get on live and talk about that. Yes, we are runners. Who else on here? Jessica, hey girl, period. Y'all hopped on live today. DeAndre, Brittany. I saw Dr. Munson on here. I don't know if it was the wife or the husband. They both doctors now. This is really some awesome information. Thank you. You're welcome, Bridget. Yes. Yes, this wasn't a gatekeep live. I'm going to share with y'all what I got. You welcome, Jessica. Yeah, so I'm excited about what God is doing. I can't wait to see everything that he does in 2023. It's going to be an amazing year. I'm doing a briefcase again. I absolutely cannot wait. I've been writing down names of people that I want to invite to come in and just share, what's on their hearts, to tell their stories, to talk about their businesses, and really just bring some value to the table. Those are the atmospheres that I'm creating, right? Atmospheres where, we going to go get it, right? And we're learning the tools and strategies that we need. And everybody won't have thousands of followers. That's okay. But if you got some major knowledge on the inside of you, and I know where God is taking you, and you've seen results, like, that's a plus to me. Right? Don't allow vanity metrics to make you feel like you're not worthy or you're not worth it, because having a lot of followers, y'all, is a big responsibility. I'm on these people's pages, helping them to manage these pages. And I'm like, my goodness, the inboxes that come through, the comments, the engagement. I'm like, wow, it's a big responsibility. And so you have to ask God, like, am I ready for this? Another story that I just recently read, it was a young lady who had like 6 million followers. And what I thought was so significant about this story is she ended up having a t-shirt line. 6 million followers. She had, worked really hard to build this audience of 6 million. And she, starts this t-shirt line and she launches it. She thought she was going to make over $1 million, selling t-shirts because she got all these followers. This lady barely sold 34 t-shirts. Her audience wasn't conditioned to, support her in that way. They didn't want what she had to offer. And she didn't niche down. So yes, you attracted a lot of people, but you're not in front of the audience, right? You're not in front of the right people. And so she was disappointed, but it was a learning experience for her. And so I just thought that story was phenomenal because it just really goes to show that, sometimes you feel like, man, I got to get this amount of followers. Like, no, you need to get in front of the right people. It could be, there was another young man. I listen to these stories all day long concerning the media, concerning like marketing. That's how I get revelation and understand. I'm learning from these people. And, this young man, he was like going live a lot and only like 3 or 4 people would join his live. I think he said he only got up to like 20, but all it took was one video and Oprah saw that video and Oprah hired this young man and this man's life has changed. So all it does is take one person, like, your video to be placed in front of the right people. you know, and so don't be discouraged. You know, when you don't see your numbers growing, keep posting, keep sharing, continue to niche down, check your analytics, right? Those are important. Those numbers are there for you to be able to gauge and track how much reach you're getting. Again, like Meta wants to make sure that we're getting the tools that we need to stay online. Like Facebook and stuff, Instagram, they're nothing without people. Like if they don't have us, they don't have content, they're nothing. If everybody decided to leave Facebook right now and Instagram, Meta, and hop over to like Twitter, they're going to be trying to figure out what can we give them to come back? Like, how can we get this engagement up, right? And the goal is to like, you know, create content that's valuable because, you know, they get paid like off of our attention. So if we're online and people are tuned into what, you know, your content, you're now capturing the attention of people. And so of course they're like, okay, well, look at this profile. We're going to make sure this content goes out and they get a further reach because they're keeping the attention of people on our app. And so there's a lot of content on here that's just not good content. But if you got something valuable, you know, and you leading people to Christ and you're solving a major problem, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I don't. You're either going to be an extreme content consumer or you're going to be creating content. You know, like I be doing both sometimes. I be consuming content. When y'all post stuff, I be reading it. I be looking at the videos. I be inspired. Like I be tuned in, you know, to what God is doing. And it be good, you know, but also don't just get stuck in just consuming content and comparing yourselves to other people and never create and produce content. Right, Gigi, my friend? Me and Gigi had a good conversation. We went to the wedding. Y'all, my coach was absolutely beautiful, y'all. Like, I'm so excited by her being a wife. And man, me and Gigi, we rode in that rain talking. That's my girl. And then Camille was on the line, so we had to talk to her so she can get home. And then I got to my destination, and then I talked to Gigi, and I was like halfway asleep. I was like, yeah, girl. And then she was like, I got 5 minutes or something like that. And then, girl, because I was so tired. I was up for like 2 days, but man, it was so worth it. That wedding was absolutely amazing. It was beautiful, y'all. Like, it was beautiful. So it was beautiful. God did cover us. She was so pretty, y'all. Yeah, so y'all tell y'all stories. Get out here. Have fun with it. You know, let people know. She was so pretty. Well, that's all that I got for you all on today. Y'all, I'm going to start going live more. I always say that, but I don't know why I don't go live because I always have something to share. But I am going live tonight in Fresh Digital. I need to reschedule our mastermind. I think that's going to be Thursday. I need to double check. So if y'all want to be a part of the 2023 mastermind, I'm going to post a link. And then I'm doing Fresh Digital tonight, going live just to get some strategies and talk, you know, about things that's going to be happening. Let's see if it's on here. Okay. Boom. I just made it visible, I think. See, I can join my community. I think it's free. It's a free trial of 3 days. And then after that, I think it's $24.99 or something like that a month. So that's really cool. Yep, get in there. We're going to be talking about media and stuff like that, telling stories. So y'all, that's the vein I'm in right now. Just storytelling, because that's my assignment for now. Yes. Yes, Jessica. That's my assignment. I'm finna be a master storyteller. Finna be telling these stories. I cannot wait. And it's like, you know, when you're able to like tell a story effectively and, you know, pull all the lessons out and just encourage people and inspire people, like it's just absolutely amazing. Like you can literally change somebody's life. Like God will use your story to change somebody's life. Like she said, you share with me, you know, about you being a teen single mom, about you, you know, like navigating resources, like all of this. She was like, it blessed me. She was like, it really sparked a fire. She was like, you was first. And you want to know what she said? Also, she said, Taylor J, she said, now you're a part of my story. She said, oh, you're a part of my story. Like, so everything that I've gone through and the things that I've shared with her, and even like my kindness and me showing her favor, you know, all of that, like, now I get to become a part of her story. And you know what's crazy too? Like, you know, I know that some people, we don't want to be the villain in people's stories, you know, but it be necessary, don't it? You know, it's like we all had to overcome somebody for something, you know, and we don't necessarily want to be the villain, but it be necessary, you know, and knowing how to tell a story in a way to where, you know, it's captivating, it's not negative, but very encouraging, very inspiring, right? There's a lesson in it. Like, that's a skill. I think it's amazing. If you become cold at telling stories, I'm telling you, man, you will find yourself in some amazing rooms. Like, I was sitting back at my coach's wedding, and I got to serve at the door and, you know, check people in. I was blown away. It was such an honor to do that. Like, I was just blown away. And people, you know, that I was encountering, they knew my name. They were like, I know who you are. Some of the people I didn't know, a lot of the people I did know, you know, they were sharing, well, you know, your status blessed me, or, you know, the things that you said on this day really blessed me, or your text community went out and it blessed me. You know, you just never know who's watching. Like, everybody doesn't like your statuses. They may not all hop on this live. You know, there are some people that are standing out in the hallway on this live and you didn't click the button to like join so I can see your name, but you see me talking. You know, there are people that are outside the hallway, you know, that are listening in and inspired, you know, by like the things that I'm saying. And so you just never know. Everybody won't give you a hand clap or, you know, a celebration or a thank you, but just know that you are impacting lives. Like, you have something that somebody else needs. I think that's amazing. You know, God is using us, y'all, in this season. And you may feel like, yo, it's insignificant, or that story dumb, or, you know, that don't have no oil on it. You just never know until you put it out there, right? And you can't be so afraid of criticism that you like shut down. That's one of the major things. It's a book called Outwitting the Devil, and by Napoleon Hill. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's who wrote it. And yeah, that's who wrote it. Got to think about it. He, you know, went and interviewed the devil, and he said, you know, what are the things that you use to hold people back? And the devil was like, fear. And he was like, well, what kind of fear? And he was like, the major fears that he uses to hold us back is the fear of criticism, the fear of death, the fear of poverty, old age, and the fear of loss of love. Yeah, I think those are all the 5. And so if you can overcome like poverty, right? Like, a lot of us have been down, you know, have suffered in that area. You know, there's nothing to be afraid of because you hit rock bottom with that thing. Or if you've had near-death experiences and you're just not afraid of it. If you're not afraid of criticism, that was like the second one, I think, that he named. You know, if you can overcome criticism and what people may say or how they feel about you, you know, as you put stuff out there, man, I'm telling you, you can go so far. Like, fear of old age. Like, people don't want to get old, but when you realize, like, listen, this is a journey, and I'm going to give God every ounce of my life, and I'm going to die empty, like, then you begin, you know, it's okay because you know that you're pursuing something, right? You walking in purpose. And then loss of love. Don't nobody want a heartbreak. They don't want to lose their mama, you know, or people that they love, you know, like, we don't want to deal with that. It hurts, y'all. Like, I'll never forget. Oh, that's another story, y'all. I'm going to share that one on another day. Heartbreak hurts. Heartbreak hurts. Like, man, you will find yourself in the house with the house dark, you know, like, heartbreak hurts so bad. So if you can overcome those things, you know, and shift your mindset and get in alignment with the word of God over your life, I promise you, like, you know, there will be less fear. And when you realize that, you know, you showing up in the media and you telling your story, you know, and you doing these things is an assignment, it lifts that fear up off of you. It's like, I gave my life over to God. Like, this life is not my own. Like, God, I want you to use me at full capacity. Like, you know, I want you to get all the glory out of my life. And so when you get into a space like that, you know, fear lifts, right? Because now it's not your burden. It's like, God, I'm available. You know, I heard you speak. I'm going to be obedient, and, you know, you get the glory. And so we become content in knowing that, you know, we're just being obedient to God, and that all things are truly going to work together. And He going to get it all, y'all. He going to get it all, period. So no more fear of criticism. Put your content out there. You may not sound perfect. I be sounding a little ghetto sometimes. Sometimes I stumble over my words. Sometimes you might have little bags under your eyes, so you gotta use a filter. I mean, get it. There are people I know, like, they be in bonnets on live on TikTok. I will wear a bonnet on live. I think. I won't go outside in a bonnet, but I'll do a reel in a bonnet. I don't know if I'll go live in a bonnet. I don't know. I ain't going live with a bonnet on. I'll lie. I'm not doing it. But y'all, for real, it's people. It be stuff all in their backgrounds. Yeah, nah, I ain't going live in a bonnet. I'm like, will I go live in a bonnet? Nah, I ain't going live in a bonnet. Thank you for the stars. Oh, my little baby. My baby don't feel good. So I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go so I can tend to him. Oh, my goodness. So I love y'all. Pray that this video encouraged y'all. Y'all make sure y'all share. I love y'all until next time.